At this time, I'd like to call the Village of Midlothian Committee meeting for May 20th, 2015 to order. Roll call.
Trustee Gillis. Here. Trustee Ivan.
Here.
Trustee Killaley. Trustee Christ.
Here.
Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Moskal.
Here.
Mayor Ryback.
Here.
Have a quorum.
Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I will open the floor to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, now is your time. Having no one to address the board this evening, I will close the floor to public comment. Trustee Killaley, you look about as awake as the rest of us do this evening. Do you want to swear in now? Do you want to be sworn in now, John?
Sworn in or
Yeah.
sworn in?
Sworn in? We can swear at you. Would you like to be sworn in now?
Sure.
Okay. We're going to take a little differential and swear in Trustee Killaley, because he had the flu last week.
You said next week.
It was last week. It was last week. It's better now.
Still contagious.
He looks a little pale. How crazy is that?
Yes, you come over here. Sign this for me.
Nice photo. Right here?
Right there.
And more of my stuff.
Ain't none.
Yeah.
I know it. Repeat this thing.
Raise your right hand. I, Donald Killaley,
I, Donald Killaley,
having been elected
having been elected
to the position of the Midlothian Village Trustee
to the position of Midlothian Village Trustee
in the Village of Midlothian,
in the Village of Midlothian,
in the County of Cook,
County of Cook,
aforesaid do solemnly swear
aforesaid to solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and ordinances of the Village of Midlothian,
and ordinances of the Village of Midlothian,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of office
the duties of office
of Village Trustee
of Village Trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Welcome back.
We have for you your certificate from the county.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll move on to Trustee Christ for business.
I have a lot of updates. So I guess what I'll start with, this I just handed you, and these are, Nicole put these on the front of this. But what this is the, I hope, the final draft of the vehicle policy. The only thing that has changed per Trustee Gillis is if you go to the last page under use of personal tools. I added that section. That is new. I also added the insurance forms or the reporting forms in the event there was an accident or an injury, and I'm not sure if I referenced them appropriately in the policy, so I have to read through it again.
John, you got another copy?
No, sure, no, don't, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't have another copy. And the other, I brought a mileage form, if I could find it in this pile of stuff I've got. Draft mileage form that Nicole made, which I will get hopefully by next week. So I would like to get this on the agenda and get this approved next week, because I've been working on it for weeks or months. So I can move on to the next policy, because we need to move forward on these policies. Please read it. If you have any suggested changes, would you please provide me with your suggested changes in writing, what you would like the wording to be, okay? Because I'm really sick of writing this policy. But I think everybody else had read it. I had received comments that they thought it was very well done. So the last two paragraphs are new, forms attached, I'll make sure it's referenced. I'll try to get the mileage log the reporting, the monthly or weekly mileage log as part of this, get it finalized by next Wednesday. Does that sound reasonable with everybody?
Thanks, Frank.
Can I make a suggestion? I
Oh,
think
you again?
I brought this up last week when we were discussing. I think it would be in our best interest if we shared this with the department heads prior to us.
All right, well then, if you have departmental responsibility, would you share it with them? I think it's pretty clean, straightforward. It pretty much clears up any ambiguities. And that's basically what we want, correct? But I would like to get this finalized because I have a stack of other policies sitting at my computer at home to work on, and I want to start moving on to the next one. Okay, does that sound reasonable? Again, this is for non-union employees. Because I think the unions are all, everything is bound by the contract, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now I lost my agenda. So vehicle policy. Okay, I'll go into water. Tomorrow is a stormwater utility seminar being presented by a number of engineers, and C&T Health Sprague is going to be a speaker. I was strongly encouraged by Harriet to attend. I think Joe and Jeff are attending as well, and I believe some of our Midlothian team may be attending. It's down at Willis Tower. It's all day. I registered for it. I'm going to ask the village to reimburse me for the registration fee, which was $50. I will pay for my own travel expenses, as I normally do when I travel downtown. I think that, you know, we've talked about having a way to fund stormwater improvements, and Harriet encouraged me to attend this. So I'm planning on being down at Willis Tower tomorrow morning, representing the village of Midlothian at 9 a.m. Moving on to the next item under water. I had gotten an email from Harriet back in April 20th, and I provided a string of emails. I think it first went to the mayor, and I don't know what happened to the bill mayor, on January 5th. And the original invoice of $1,833.09 was dated December 15th. So Harriet sent me that on April 18th, or April 20th, and said, you know, can you tell me who I should send this invoice to? So I looked at the invoice, and my first question was, I wasn't sure that the village was even responsible for paying it for any of this, so maybe you could shed some light on this. And I don't recall the board ever approving any of the expenditures. So I had actually had a phone conversation with Harriet, and she said, let me go back and see what I can do. The result of that is the revised invoice of $1,159. I don't know, Mayor, what agreement was made with Center for Neighborhood Technology, but seeing that she reduced the original bill $674.09, and this was basically for the survey that they sent out, and the rain gauges, I think the board should approve this. Just so you know,
With the rain gauges at the top, the 12,
yes,
that is my contribution. I told Harriet I would pay for those,
you,
personally.
oh,
It was for half.
I would pay for half of them, correct.
okay, so
So
then,
I will
okay,
reimburse the village for the $159, right.
okay,
As far as the survey, that's what it cost us to get the survey done.
okay,
And there was no real arrangement, it just had to, the survey had to be done before
Okay.
we moved forward on any of the project.
okay, so you'll,
So we'd be looking to approve $1,000 bill.
$1,000, yes.
Correct.
Does the board have any problem with that? Okay, so I will then give this to Janet to process. And just so you know, I sent Harriet an email today. I think I talked about, there's a new call for projects, and one of them through Active Transportation Alliance is for a complete streets grant, which I hope I have the time to write. The other is the CMAP and the RTA have opened up a local technical assistance program once again. And CNT was going to submit a grant application for a feasibility study and for a plan, a small plan for 147th Street. And when I emailed Harriet today to say, you know, I'm planning on applying for complete streets, I sent them the application. Your input would be welcome. By the way, is Mary DeBacher going to prepare a local technical assistance application on behalf of Midlothian? And she said, it's done, it's in my inbox, the draft is done. So again, I can't say enough about what we get every day from CNT. And I read the Rain Ready report, sent Molly some comments that I had, the draft, she's polishing it up. What we're getting from them is just incredible. So as soon as the Rain Ready report is their interim report is finalized, we'll get it on the village's website. We'll probably talk about it at our next steering committee, but I can't say enough about the value of CNT because they're my new best friends. Midlothian's new best friends. All right, let me go through my notes in my pile here. Comment about cleanup day. Mayor was at cleanup day, I was at cleanup day, Trustee Ivan was at cleanup day, and it was very poorly attended. I don't know who in the front office is responsible for getting press releases out and flyers to the school, but it was very poorly advertised this year. There was poor attendance last year. It was even poor this year. So I had asked Public Works to give me a breakdown of what it cost in Public Works salaries for last Saturday. And it was $576.55 and $41.61 for supplies for a total of $618.16. I think we probably need to think long and hard about cleanup day and maybe restructure it, maybe not have it. We have to do something because I think we spent a lot of money and didn't get a lot of return. So just like with the health fair, the village had decided it just wasn't worth, and that didn't even cost us any money, but with our limited staff and resources that we have here, and the things that we're dealing with, I just think that whole cleanup day needs to be really reevaluated before we put it on the calendar again. Carol, do you have any comments?
Well, we did have a lot of rain, so that might have scared some people away, but it didn't seem that many more people than we had last year, because I remember it being a small number last year.
Well, and this year we also lost the high schoolers because last year we had the softball and baseball teams out. And because they've been dealing with a really rainy season, they were all committed to having games on that day, so.
I just think it's maybe something we need to reinvent if we're gonna do it. Maybe there's a better way of doing it. Maybe smaller things, maybe smaller targeted projects, and we can get volunteers and do it all summer long. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. I wanted the board to be aware of just my observations and what it costs the village. EPA grant. The phase two for the Chevy property will be available tomorrow, correct? Which I believe Mr. Heider is waiting for, and the seller of the property, so that's good news. The mayor called me today wanting to know when the phase two for the Chrysler property will be completed. We will have a Reader's Digest version tomorrow, but the final report will be ready next week as well, because the attorneys working on the RDA needs the drive time, wanted to know the environmental status. So again, I think we're going to get some more, hopefully, success stories with the EPA grant, because we had these things in motion already. We didn't have to stop to get the environmentals done. And again, at no cost to the village or any of these property owners.
Do you know what the report says?
You know, the Chevy report, I talked to Peter Primrose, and he said minimal environmental, minimal, okay, minimal. So we'll have the report tomorrow. And I don't know, like I said, we'll get a Reader's Digest version from the phase twos tomorrow, which when they do the soil boring, so those are really the valuable reports. And it's very important that I talk about the EPA grant, because we have to report these things in our quarterly report. The Grills property needed supplemental phase twos that had to get approved by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency because it's a petroleum site. They denied it. We appealed it, and we sent more documentation down to Mike Charles today at the Illinois EPA, hoping that this grant can cover the supplemental work that needs to be done on grills. When they closed down the property, Mr. Grill had to set up an escrow for the work. If we can get approval from the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, it will be covered under our US EPA grant. On the Illinois Green Infrastructure Grant, we are ready to go out to bid for construction. Mike, do you have can you tell me when you think the legal notice might be ready to be published? I sent you everything Monday evening.
I documented something and sent it to legal to take a look at.
Okay, I mean, I think it's pretty boilerplate. They had drafted, Weaver Who's had drafted it, and I think we just needed to make sure the dates complied with our ordinance. So we're ready to go out to bid. As soon as we get the bids back, I'll have to meet with Joe Sperry so they can do the demolition on the property. Highbridge was actually ready to come out and start working this week on the rain garden, but I had to tell them we're not ready to have the rain garden because we haven't even started demolition on the property. So we are moving along on that. Veterans Committee met Monday evening. I thought it was a very productive meeting, talking about the parade. And we have one more meeting June 15th before the parade, so the focus was on the parade. Again, I have information on the parade for anybody who wants it. Rain Ready Subcommittee was supposed to meet tomorrow, but again, that's been postponed because some of us will be at the Stormwater Utility Seminar. So Rain Ready will be Thursday, May 28th. And I hope I am done.
What's the status of the demolition of those vacant homes?
Everything was, the building department had all the documentation together. You're talking about 149th Street in Lawndale.
And
149th Street.
149th Street in Lawndale.
there's three of them.
Keystone?
Keystone is different. There was another, I sent the attorney information, there was another tax sale, but we should acquire the deed to that property in June. So once,
we're ready to move on to one on
well, no, on Lawndale and 149th Street, all the notifications went out Friday afternoon. They were re-stickered. I sent everything to the attorney. There's a 30-day period, and then the attorney has to go in and do what he has to do. So that started last Friday, which I think was the 15th. So we are moving on those. And hopefully we'll have movement and demolition, and then we'll file liens on the property for the demolition costs, but that will be covered under the Illinois Housing Development Authority grant, so the demolitions will be covered by the grant 100%. Okay? Anything else? I'm done.
Okay. Trustee Ivan, I know you still have that, I will do committee assignments next week, so you'll then be reporting on the committee, but how's your first couple of weeks as trustee going?
Oh, good.
Have a good time?
I'm going to the stormwater utility at Tuesday.
Okay.
You can't seem to get on the Wi-Fi here at home. The junior trustee, yes, paid for it.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You didn't know that?
I had to pay for it.
Yeah. You have to be here so
No,
long.
I'm not talking
before-
about it as a private one, I'm talking about the Infinity Wi-Fi one.
Okay, we'll get that looked at for you, Carl.
Okay.
Trustee Gillis?
I had a couple things. Superintendent Stern emailed everybody a copy of the estimates for the foreclosed homes grass cutting. I'd like to get that on the agenda for next week for approval for the recommendation of the lowest bid. Seems fairly reasonable, so
It's GTL?
yes.
Okay.
Also, I wanted to discuss this before we actually approve it next week, if we do or don't, but I do not believe we formally approved Ty Swanson for attending the Certified Stormwater Inspector class. I know I received a couple comments because of the price of the class, if we wanted to make any stipulations for her attending it, and what happens if he goes through a class and doesn't pass it. It's a pretty hefty bill. A recommendation was made that, you know, do we ask him to pay for part of it if he doesn't pass it, or do we just go through the motions and hopefully he will? I think he's encouraged to take it, and I'm not saying that he wouldn't. I just want everybody to be aware of the price of the class is $900, so
Is there a likelihood that someone could fail it?
I don't know.
Who's gives the course?
It is, I actually printed everything out. It is the class is the National Stormwater Center is offering Certified Stormwater Inspector Municipal Training in Chicago on June 1st and 2nd. It says graduates of the Certified Stormwater Inspector course receive certification for 5 years and continuing education units and ongoing unlimited support of the National Stormwater Center. It says here as well, designed specifically for MS4 personnel, it focuses on stormwater permit compliance. It's the key to restoring and maintaining the waters of the United States. Testing will be conducted. Students are required to achieve a minimum overall score of 75% to be awarded the CEUs and a 5-year inspector license.
And it will benefit the village greatly because we've had to outsource work that requires an inspector. Now that we have somebody going, hopefully he will pass it, and in turn it will pay for itself down the road. I don't know if anybody has any feedback on it. I'm confident that if someone's going to pass it, it would be Ty or Joe, so. I'll bring it up next week, then we can get it approved. Superintendent Spirit gave me some information pertaining to the roof damage at the Historical Society. I was just brainstorming a little bit. I don't know that we can or can't, but is there any stipulation that we can file an insurance claim for this?
I don't see why we couldn't. What is the total cost of it?
Well, he's given me 2 quotes to have the roof completely repaired, tear off and replacement. That was $12,300. There also needs some roof patching that needs to be done, $2,200, and interior repairs from the damaged floors and the paint. And I guess something happened to the drinking cup too. That was $838. I'm actually going to ask Superintendent Sperry to let me see the price quotes that he, the 2 that he received, but I also would like to add a 3rd one in there of another local roofer. I believe he's in town, and I think he's probably going to give us a better deal than this too.
Yeah, we can put it to the insurance company, see if they'll cover any of it.
Okay.
The patching was instead of redoing the roof, right?
I believe the patching was something that had to be done. They sort of did it already, part of it, but that's what the cost was. I'll ask him. I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's just additional work that needs to be done.
The storm related?
Well, the rain was going. The last big rain we had, it happened, so. Especially the interior part, I don't see why that would be covered under insurance. So, our 2 new firefighters that are going through their testing procedure, background, everything are moving along. Just want the board to know too that they will not be put on 8-hour shifts. They will be put right on 24 because they are 2 of our part-timers, so that's going to save us quite a bit of money. Also with the turnout here that they already have, so we'll be able to put them right on shift. I know their background in medical has been done, they were taking their psych test the other day, so I think that's the only one there. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Trustee LaRue?
Yes, ma'am. The village newsletter, using the email format through CivicSend to Civic Plus is set to go 1st of June. So departments have been notified to see if they had any content, but I just want to let the trustees know if they had anything to get in there, let Nicole know, and we'll get it out there. It'll just be called the village newsletter at this time. We have over 100 people that'll be emailed out to, and we'll try to start to get more people on that list as it goes along. So if you guys have anything you'd like to have in that newsletter, let us know. And I just wanted to report, I'll report again next week on the annual Cop on Top, which is a fundraiser for Illinois Friday, May 29th at our local Dunkin' Donuts, from 5 a.m. to, I guess they can't stand it anymore.
Yeah. I think we stayed out there until like 2 o'clock last year.
That's it.
Yeah.
People said he was burnt up Christmas.
I was quite crisp after that day, yes.
So that'll be, I'll report on that next week as well. And that's all I have.
Great.
Mayor, can I back up for a minute? Just
Sure.
one thing. With the railroad crossing going on, starting June 11th, I just wanted to get the board's thoughts on Station 1 and 2. Normally we have 2 guys at Station 2. The chief wanted to know if he could have approval to have another part-time firefighter on shift when the railroad crossing's blocked up. So it's going to take them longer to get an engine out of Station 1. And if they only have 2 guys on an engine, or on duty, they would be able to take an engine out. Or should, but you need a minimum of 3. So I don't think the cost is going to be very much, but for the time period, I think it would be
Is that for when both of them are closed?
uh,
During the entire closing of it?
yes.
So about 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, the 11th to July 3rd.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Trustee Killily?
Oh, I've worked in CRS. CRS, Kathy is working on it diligently, sending us emails almost every other day about what we need to do and what we should be doing, so we're making good progress on that. Again, I would, ask, I know the village attorney's been very busy, but again, we have to pass something that mirrors MWRD's ordinances regarding stormwater and adopt them to be considered for CRS. Basically, their ordinances or code basically is what FEMA's looking for. So at some point, we would need that to have that in place during the verification visit. It's not imminent, but it's just should be put on the list. Let's see, I have some other news, quite a little bit actually. Jawa is going to, two towns have asked for a meeting also in Robbins, and our attorney is working on coming up with a plan too for either dissolution or the towns that want to get out, which would be all of them except maybe Harvey, who won't show up, making that doable. So Jawa is pretty much gone, hopefully, unless there's some other crazy thing. I talked to PNC Bank today. They called. I asked them about what we have in the escrow account for the bond and interest account and other things. We have $44,000 roughly in the account. So instead of $194, which we owe roughly $150,000. So that's good news. I have a friend who's a alderman in Markham, and he's on the pension board. And he just happened to mention to me, he's on the police pension board, he happened to mention to me that they had a very negative effect that the contribution rate went down on theirs from 80 to 70%. And their investments did very well this year, so they asked the actuary what happened, why did that happen? It happened because they put on 7 laterals for police, and that raises your pension liability dramatically. So I would, I'm not saying that laterals aren't a good thing, but I think we have to take the pension effect into account before we automatically say that laterals are a good thing. So I would ask somehow the pension board to study that and see if they could come up with an answer, because basically we're hiring laterals, am I guessing 30 to 35 most of the time? Years old.
Probably.
About that, and so they may, I guess the actuaries figuring they have 15 to 20 years left roughly, and that's how they're figuring it. So pension is going to be a big part of our problems in the future, I think, and we want to try to minimize it so that we can. Lightway Auto, I just happened to contact one of their employees just when it came into the store, and it came to the conversation where we were able to contact the operations manager from Lightway up in Michigan. And I think part of the issue here has been that we're dealing to an intermediary developer, and I don't think that's good. I don't know if we've gotten, it would be nice if we could sit across from each other and talk figures and what's going to be good for you and what's going to be good for us, rather than working through a developer who might have another point of view and another interest. So next
Well, and the
month-
developer doesn't respond to emails on a timely
Right.
basis.
And I don't know, and basically they asked about the RDA, and, I told them the RDA is coming, but he again mentioned about the sales tax incentive, and I said, well, I don't know if the board's interested in that at all, but, if you want to come to the village to talk about it, it's good. Just as so next Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we're having a meeting, the mayor, Trustee Kreis, myself. I know you want to bring some other people, I imagine, I don't know, but we're going to talk to the operations manager of the big league at Rightway. But Rightway's no small company, just by the way, they have 25 used car dealerships, 16 new car dealerships. They own, when Sunrise Chevrolet was there, that was one of the dealerships. So they're no small company. They're one of the big boys, and they want to grow. They have their own bank. So it mirrors pretty much what Drive Time is. And
So they wanted to put a trailer for
they're
a big time
now
firm.
they're going to put they talked about $100,000 building. That was, and all of the conversation was about. He brought that up. But what they're afraid of is, and I guess from their point of view, I understand it, is that when they put a $100,000 building in there, it costs them $25,000 more in taxes if it's assessed $100,000. So that's what their concern is with the Class 8. Now, if you look at most of their buildings, they're like Drive Time, or they try to acquire a abandoned or not used new car lot and use it for that. So they do the same basic thing. But I do think they're one of the people we would want to keep in the town. Basically, according to the figures that he gave me through April, if it projects on is a monthly, the same monthly figures, basically they do pretty close to $10 million a year in sales right now. And hopefully with the building, they would increase substantially. I don't know if we could do anything. One of the things that concerned me is that they were not totally committed to Midlothian. They definitely looking for other venues if there's a better deal. We want to stop that from happening if we can, just like what you did when you talked to the.
Well, I'm just saying that you're saying they're a big time outfit, but they want to put a trailer on it.
They want to get out, what their thing, what the trailer was, they want to minimize the real estate taxes, because they thought with the trailer that they weren't going to get assessed anymore. That was their major thing. So, I mean, they're looking at the bottom line the way any business looks at it.
They have to get vehicles there.
Pardon me?
You charge them vehicles for a trailer.
Yeah, fine. You've been moved? Okay, fine.
License plates too, right?
License plate? Lastly, I had a visit from some people from Toronto today who told me that they bought our shopping center. So Viking is not, we don't, not owned by Viking, it's owned, right, Viking is a company that tried to turn their shopping centers over to their investment company. So I don't know who these guys are from Toronto, but they bought our shopping center. So you'll be hearing from some different people, and maybe you can talk to them if they actually do it, and not only that it was supposed to be done for the last 10 years.
I know a lot of the tenants would just like their names on that sign that they installed.
Well, and
They never
maybe,
put their names on it.
it could light up and
Yeah,
things
something,
like that,
yeah.
you know, I talked to them about parking. I mean, they seem like they're amenable, and my experience is that the Canadians are much easier to work with than other vendors I have. Canadians are easier to work with, so maybe this will be better too.
No offense to every other nationality out there.
As business people.
You know, that's
As business
interesting.
people, that's what
I
I'm
had
saying.
gotten an email last week from, I can't remember his name, who I'd been dealing with at Viking Partners when I had gotten their information to take the ICSC.
Red collar?
No,
No, it's,
oh gosh, I can't think of his name, but anyway, he wanted to know what our zoning was over there, and I sent him everything, and what was permitted and what was special use, so maybe he needed that, I don't know.
that was why. You
That was
Warner
why.
wanted to look at it. That's what I told them. So that could be good news, I hope, and that's all.
Okay, trustee Mosco?
Yes, I have several updates. First, I promised last week an update on the budget. I got an email from Ryan, which I shared with the other members of the Finance Committee, and I got a chance to, we exchanged a few emails this week. I got a chance to talk to him on the phone today. I've asked him to go back and pull together some information so he's going to reach out to the department heads for some highlights, some summaries of what's in the budgets, what's not. I asked him to look at areas of risk, for example. I think we provided some guidance as what we think risk insurance may go up, what health insurance may go up, et cetera. And those could be big deciding factors in where we land. So just want to be sure we were consistent. So I hope we will have something next week, some more information to share on the status. I shared, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, that in doing some research in our ordinances on water collections, they are not consistent with ICC regulations, which the attorney provided to me. So Nicole has been doing quite a bit of work. I asked her to put together a document. She actually did a really good job with it, around what we're currently doing in-house for collections, what the current ordinance says, what we would propose to do in terms of the ordinance, what we would propose to do in terms of a process internally. So it's about a almost a three-page matrix, which I can share with anybody who wants to see it. But I think I'm ready to send that to the attorney and ask him to look at that and propose what we need to change in the ordinance. And then the next step will be documenting some policies here, procedures, what we'll follow. And I think we've got a little bit of a start on that, but this is a process, so moving along. Along the lines of water collections, some of you may have gotten an email a week or two ago from, I think they came out from Robin about signing up for e-billing. I don't know, I think it went out to about 600 people, I think, email addresses that we had for people who would pay online. One of the things that I have been talking with and working through some numbers with Nicole was trying to see how many more people we could reach out to get signed up to e-billing. If people aren't paying their bill online or they haven't already signed up for it, they may not even know about it. And I know we put little notices on the water bills and tried to put things on bills, and I think we have a message of them, of the receipts now from the register. But I asked her to look into the cost for coming up with some postcards. And she talked to a few different vendors, and I think the best price she got was actually from the vendor, I believe, that's doing the Public Works annual water report postcards. This is what she mocked up. I'll send copies of this around to everybody. The first 2 pages are really what it would look like, and this isn't necessarily anything final. It's just a view, and this is obviously full size, but it will be a postcard. It just says, let's go paperless, and then there's some facts on the other side. It being free and green, etc. I'm not sure why she has the box of peanuts in there. I think that's a jar of peanuts. I think that's just a format she took the template from. Okay. So it's just the first 2 pages that say Midlothian residents, let's go paperless. And then on the back there it says Midlothian resident business owner, paying your utility bills never been easier. sign up for online payments and e-billing today and enjoy these great features. And she lists 6 or 7 reasons why we would encourage people to use this. The quote she has, the low quote from E. Allen Graphics, which I think is the company that Public Works is using, for 7,500 of the cards, which they would sort and pre-sort for postage, mailing, etc. We would still have to pay the postage on the postcards with the cards and the sorting, etc. would be $725 to do. Obviously, we would only need to send out a little more than half of those. We have 281 have already signed up for e-billing. We would want to make sure we got these to everybody. The rest of the cards, obviously, we would use to hand out or leave here as reminders. So I'd ask the board to consider that. If you have any feedback on this, I don't know if it's a good idea, bad idea.
This picture here is the actual size of the card. That's why it's in there.
It's the actual size of what? Of the
The
card.
card that
They
you
don't,
want to
they
send
don't
out.
use small postcards, that's the
Yeah.
minimum size of postcard.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, and on the back, you can see about the size of the text. Yeah, that's right. It does have to be a certain size for that particular postal and carrier also.
Does
Four colors,
postage include
two-sided.
postage?
That does not include the postage. But it's prepared, all the forms are prepared and sorted for the route, so we get the lowest bulk rate from the post office. I think that's, I didn't ask for that rate, I think it's something around 14 cents or 16 cents when they're sorted that way.
And then the alternative would be, is there a village newsletter?
Comes on to the spring, but we have the civic newsletter going out June 1st, we can put it in there definitely.
But that's only gonna go to people whose email addresses we have.
Yeah,
And that's,
I don't want to reach.
that's kind of the problem we have here, is I'm trying to get people who are not already signed up for some type of email. So the water billings to produce the forms and the postage are costing us about $15,000 a year right now. So, I mean, I realize it's a chunk of money, but I think we tried some other things, and I don't think 280, in today's day and age, I don't think 280 accounts is a good. We have 600 plus that are actually paying their accounts online. I'm one of those guilty people, I still like to get my paper bills, so I always click no when it comes up, but I would consider doing this, especially given the cost. But I'm just wondering how many of our residents don't even know about it.
A lot of our residents don't even know they can pay their water bill online.
Right.
I tell people that all the time.
I mean, I realize there's a cost to it, but I think there's also a significant cost savings too. And the sooner we can get more people on e-billing, the sooner we can consider switching to a monthly or bi-monthly billing situation. If anybody has any other feedback, comments, changes, if you don't like it, let me know. Nicole literally put this together in about 10 minutes today. She's been working on getting actually the quotes using size, color, things like that. But there's other, you can put anything else on here if you like it.
I think it's a good idea. We've got to push to try to get this, capture, get as many people as we can in e-billing. It's just going to save a tremendous amount of not only human resources, but paper.
What's the potential savings, or we can look at the,
Well, if we're spending about, I think it's around $14,000 a year now, because we have the 3 residential sections are billed quarterly, businesses are billed monthly. I don't have the exact numbers with me, but it's roughly 4,300 accounts. So you multiply that times 4. The forms, the paper press forms are not inexpensive. We're paying postage on all of those. So
full postage?
it's not 50 cents, but it's more than half of that.
Do we solve the problem of having to work on a paper document and when they pay online, they don't have to do that anymore?
No.
No, the PSN.
With the PSN, it has your history in there. It's actually
Okay, so everything's good, so in other words, it's not more work for the office, it's,
No, it's
this
actually
is less work.
It's actually less.
And of course, it takes some time to send out those forms, you know, the press forms. Marine scenario for part of the day or all day.
Well, and our folding machine
Doesn't want
has
to
to
bring a lot
shape
of-
either.
I mean,
The
They
folding
have
machine
trade-
has to go on break all the time because it just gets tired and old and starts coming up and
They
sticking.
told me how much that they cost.
Yeah, it's crazy expensive.
So I'd like to do,
Potential savings.
it could be up to, yeah, we will never get 100% of everyone using it, but even if we could get to 50%, that's $70,000 $30,000 a year. Which I think is worth an investment now, just to see how we do. Okay. And then lastly, the other thing, this is also something I just asked Nicole to look into today, but all of our departments are on a different timekeeping system. So I asked her to look into finding one or something that would be consistent across all the departments. Technology today, there's some things that are pretty slick. And I think that would save us a lot of time. Efficiency-wise, it seems as if people are taking things in the departments that do have something electronic. They are taking that information and putting in something manual anyway for Paylocity. And Kim has to then go through and dig through. So there'll be more to come on that. I just asked her today, but just what I saw online, I think we could find something online, technology savvy that's relatively inexpensive and might save us some time. That's all I have.
Okay, great. The only thing I have under my business this evening, I sent you the 2 quotes. I did put out a request for proposal for our garbage service for here in the village. I sent it to 5 different companies, only 2 responded. I did get one company that actually called and said, no, we'd be too big for them, so they didn't even want to bid it. Then the other 2 didn't bid it at all. So the 2 we received, I received one from Republic and one from Waste Management. I sent you all the information. Republic is the cheaper of the 2, coming in at $19.95 a month. And they're looking to get a 5-year contract. They would also supply us the 15 cans for the business district. And also, starting this year, they're going to start releasing a 3rd wheel-around garbage can for yard waste. And by 2016, every resident who wants a yard waste roll-around can would then have that instead of having to use paper bags or another makeshift garbage can. So it would be my recommendation that next week we approve Republic for a 5-year contract for our garbage collecting services.
You know, maybe if I could just comment, and I meant to bring the article and I got so consumed with this other stuff today, I forgot until I looked at this. Frankfurt just renegotiated their garbage contract, and they negotiated some of their increases downward. So I just would like to revisit that article. Alan, you usually read the South California Today. Did you see that?
I did. Was it today?
Today, yeah. Yeah, so if I may send an email out with more information. I'll send everybody the article, okay? I don't know if there's a chance.
Increase is 3.5%.
Pardon me? I think they were less. I think they were less.
No, I know, but I mean, what is that?
3.5%.
Yeah, 3.5.
So I just wanted to bring that up and I'll verify that, okay?
Keep in mind that Republic does a lot.
I know they do.
Village.
I know they do.
That could go away.
Things that we would have to pay for.
It's also a very big convenience that they're so closely located over here in Crestwood also.
Public Works, we save a ton of money
Yeah.
using
Rick
this
Hansel
stuff.
and Joe Scruton spoke very, very highly of the service that they provide. So, I wouldn't lose that. Just for instance, I drive by the baseball fields and noticed this past winter, somebody dumped their couch and love seat there. And phone call, the same day they're out and stuff.
They take it right.
Well, Don, tell them about the dream you had about me.
It's not on the
That's
agenda.
not on the agenda. Tell them about the dream you had about me.
Me?
This was pretty, Don,
Oh,
it was a pretty funny
I
dream.
can't tell you mine.
Well, it was pretty funny.
Well, you have to share it now.
It's just a crazy dream, you know, people have crazy dreams, right?
Well, you did have the flu, right?
I think it has something to do with it. It was me negotiating for a discount with the doctor. I know.
Holstead, do you have anything?
I have nothing to top that.
Okay, good.
Before we close, I have 2 things I wanted to bring up, because I just saw this. There's bills in here to South Suburban mayors and managers for the employee assistance program per employee, and these go back to 2013. Are we utilizing this at all?
thought that was part of our risk management insurance.
That's what I was thinking. You know what, if you don't mind, I can call Eileen Sandsheet, or do you want Brian to call to find out? I don't know that we should be paying this.
Yeah, who uses it even?
Why are we getting billed?
Yeah, I would have Brian look into it.
Okay.
For the employee assistance program?
I think that's
Look at
part
this,
of- I
Alan.
think that's part of either the medical insurance, I know we pay it, but another.
I thought it was under our risk insurance.
Yeah, I thought it was under risk, and I'm not sure. He's go back to 2013, and if you look, what do we got here? $4,200.
Except for substance abuse or?
Yeah, if
Employee
it's anything
assistance.
like a good psycho.
Dave, you know,
I can tell you for a fact that people are using it.
through South Suburban Mayors and Managers?
I don't know who it's through, I know the EAP program in the village.
But I'm thinking
I can
it's
tell you
gotta
for a
be,
fact that people are using it.
maybe it's.
I think that's our
Connor
Connor Gallagher.
Okay, we need to
This is
verify.
like 2 years ago.
Yeah, do you wanna write him a note,
Yeah,
tell him
I
not to pay it, okay? We don't have that kind of money. And the other thing, the health inspector said, we would bring up about the health inspector
Do we have an executive session?
I was going to go to executive session.
tonight?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's why
Oh, I'm
we
sorry.
kind of jumped the gun that we were like leaving the meeting because I actually had a request to go to executive session. So I'd be looking for a motion to go to executive session to discuss, personnel, wages and of a specific employee and also possible litigation.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are going to close session. There will be no action after closed session.